holistic health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I've been watching you so damn long, but I don't know what to say or do. I be sitting around fantasizing about what I wanna do to you. It's something about the way you move your body I can't take, especially when you turn around and you make your shake. You the #1 most requested in the club, like one of my jams. But no matter what, when I come in, you're right here where I am, breaking it down like we in bed. Got it spending up all this bread, bending over to the front, looking back at me like what you want. I gotta get you, get you, get you, get you. Someday, get you.
Happy Monday. Welcome in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you are well rested. You enjoyed your weekend, and now you are seated and ready to get into these trending topics and headlines. You know Andy's always on theme. Shout out to JD and Janet making a cameo in this video. Her little schoolgirl outfit on, giving him the peepers. Yeah. Janet was doing it up in this video. Banging. We're going to be talking about JD. He made a boisterous claim. And we're going to get into it. It involves Janet. We're also going to get into Saweetie. She says that throughout her entire life and the music industry, she has been the victim of something called pretty punishment. So I'm here to ask you, is pretty punishment a thing? I know my answer. We can guess Andy's answer, but I got an answer. And Draya and her NBA boy toy. Is that appropriate? That's probably not appropriate. Draya and her boo were spotted after a New York Fashion Week party at 2 a.m. having a heated altercation on the streets of New York in Soho, where their friends had to separate them. So, of course, the internet, they had something to say. And, we're going to get into that because the conversation that followed. I do just want to say, Janet Demita Joe Jackson? Yeah. All right, Andy, you look like you had something to say.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead. I don't know if you're going to get to it, so I'm going to let you do your thing. And if you don't get to it, then I'm going to holler at you in a bit. I mean, it was a crazy weekend.
It was. A lot happened.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Bud Crawford, right? There's a couple of things that we have to review
100%.
with this.
That
right?
wasn't it, but
I'm not saying it is. This is just my next topic because it's convo starters, right? First off, his walkout tribute, right? He took all the thunder away from Canelo a little bit. He gave an ode to Antonio Banderas in Desperado, with the guitar in hand. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I think that's the other movie. There were 3, right? And he had a full-on mariachi band. That was fire. We know he unified the belts. And then proceeded to what? Give those belts back to Canelo in classy fashion. Like, I just wanted to show you I could do it. Andy?
So I saw the clip with his interview with Stephen A. Smith, and he clarified what that was all about. So apparently those belts are personalized to Canelo. So I guess
he'll get his own.
He'll get his own personalized. So that was kind of like a prop, so to speak, for him.
Okay. So, will it look good, right? It looked good. So the question I have for everyone, Andy, the chat, everyone, you heard Max Kellerman say it a lot on the Netflix broadcast, if you watched, to follow up on those numbers. Is Bud Crawford the GOAT of his era? Just wondering. We'll talk about it. Andy, you got an answer, though?
That's tough. He's popping right now. The GOAT of his era? Well, you know what? His shirt said it all. It is the Crawford era. Until somebody knocks him off, yes, he is the GOAT of this era.
Fair. So more Vegas residencies announced. Mariah Carey is bringing her residency back to Vegas. And Jeezy has announced that he is doing a Las Vegas residency at Planet Hollywood with a 101-piece orchestra, right? So he says the shows will have a different twist than perhaps what you've seen on the tour. So, Vegas is the spot right now. I don't know about living there. Shout out to Vegas. But, it's a lot to offer in Vegas. So, will you be going to check out one of the many residencies that are floating through there? When we come forward, we're going to get into a couple of more trending topics, and then we're going to talk Jermaine Dupri and what he had to say, because y'all always get at that man about fumbling Janet Jackson, and he has a different perspective on it. So we'll get into that and more when we come forward. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
If it's the last thing that I do, I got to get you, no matter what it takes. I got to get you, and I won't make mistakes. Baby, I got to get you, like I told you before.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Black Land Loss Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land loss before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandloss.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe from... This is KBLA Talk 1580. I don't know what I was about to say. I got distracted. Listen, you know how this goes down, though. If at any point you want to get in on the conversation, 800-920-1580. Hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580. I'm personally at Stiletto Jill. You also can tap into the YouTube chat. You know they are always chatting. Ooh, I like that. I love when that comes together. It's one of my favorite things. So, shout out to Andy and the YouTube chat. Download the app. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, a couple of quick things before we get into Jermaine. One, the clips from that Chris Brown show over the weekend.
Thank you. That's what I was bringing up. I know you was mad.
I so have FOMO. I was so irritated with myself. Like, I should have just gone.
I felt like the whole city was there. Everybody named Mom. I was like, you went.
Everybody went. I saw him flying around SoFi like that is still crazy to me. And, you know I had to talk about this, right? I don't know if you guys have seen it on social media. If you haven't yet, you will, because you're going to be going to go look for it after I talk about this. Kayla Nicole, host, model, yes, Travis Kelce's ex. She was in attendance this weekend at the Breezy Bowl. And she, was pulled up on stage when Chris did Take You Down, right? And let's just say that usually the ladies are, excited, but they're just kind of, excited. Kayla was ready for her moment. Man, Kayla was ready for her moment, so much so that I think even Chris was like, hold on now. This is Chris's version of, you remember when Janet used to pull the guys out from the audience? Well, this is Chris's version of that. But Kayla, baby, Kayla was ready. So go check out that clip. Let me know what your thoughts are, because it was interesting. And lastly, shout out to, the Primetime Emmy Awards took place over the weekend, right? And although it was expected that Severance was going to take home a lot of awards, that didn't quite happen. Apple TV Plus's series The Studio took over. But there was one win in particular for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama, Tremel Tillman. So we want to shout out to him. If you haven't seen his drumline scene as a little, it's a side, but it is, a moment. He also, I believe, went to an HBCU, and, shout outs to him. We can get into all of the winners later, but I thought this was far more interesting. Let's talk Jermaine Dupri. All right, now, we know Jermaine Dupri and Janet Jackson dated in, from about 2001 to 2009, right? And they broke up because why? JD cheated and fathered a child. And, things happen, but they have a good relationship currently, right? But people are always asking JD, how did you fumble Janet Jackson? Because they don't understand how he was able to pull Janet in the first place. I can tell you, when they first got together, I worked at Virgin, and I remember us a little bit around the office when we caught wind of Jermaine and Janet, especially when he sent the private jet for her and flew her out to take her to Magic City, which he has a documentary out now about Magic City, The American Dream. It's on Stars. Check that out. It's a really great documentary, actually. Covers politics, the social climate, as well as them dancers. So check that out. But you know, he was recently on an interview on Hot 97 with Nessa, and, you know, she said she loved them together. What happened? How did you fumble Janet? And Jermaine replied, I don't know that was a fumble. Why don't y'all say she fumbled me? Sir, it's Janet Jackson. But let's hear it from his own mouth.
I always liked you and Janet Jackson together, okay? Don't judge me. I thought you guys were great together. Do you also feel like that was a fumble? Because I feel like it was a fumble. I wanted you guys to last.
I don't know what a fumble is, though. I be trying to figure out why y'all don't ever say she fumbled me.
But I love that you guys, you know, she brought you out to her show a couple years ago. We loved that moment. You know, we were all happy about you being back on stage when she brought you out of her concert.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't thinking nobody was even paying no attention to it. Because she didn't even actually talk to me when she came out. It was like a weird, like, you gonna come out and I'm gonna go change my clothes. And I was trying to get her to talk, but she was walking away. And then I seen like people comment like, she ain't even want to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it looked like, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, sir, Janet said she wanted to have babies with you. You know, you fumbled. Absolutely. Why would anybody ever say that Janet fumbled you? No disrespect, because I love Jermaine as an artist, as a producer. I think that people kind of don't give JD the amount of credit that he deserves, because he's had hits across hip hop, pop, R&B. You know, he's developed quite a few acts and really put a lot down since, you know, heck, he was in the Houdini video as a dancer. So I feel like JD doesn't get all of the props that he should as a cultural innovator.
Bad Boy didn't want that smoke.
You know, I talked about that all the time. Listen, Bad Boy has some hits. They would have ran it off. But JD got some hits.
Man, I can go to the youth. I can go to the ladies. I can go to the fellas. I'm just
saying. You know, all over the place, actually. Now, if you recall, Jermaine was on, I think it was $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, and he talked about their relationship. And, you know, he talked about how he didn't want her to feel like he had any hidden agendas and so forth. But he also admitted to more women trying to get at him because he was with Janet. And it's like, yeah, you know, sometimes that definitely can raise your profile. If you are with the baddest chick, some chicks are going to test to see if the baddest chick really has a hold on you like that. Or just to be able to say that they are adjacent to somebody like Janet Jackson. Andy?
This idea of fumbling, I feel like it's stupid. And I'm with JD. I agree with him 100%.
You think somebody should be asking Janet how she fumbled JD?
Why not? You know? And the idea of fumbling, right? Mm-hmm. I think sometimes it's a term that outside people that are not in those particular relationships, they use, right? So yeah, they see Janet Jackson, they see how wonderfully beautiful she is, right? But they don't know what wound she got. They don't know what pain she got. I'm just saying, people say that, oh, how you fumble her, man, she a bad.
But I think they're making the assumption of that based off of what they both have talked about as the end of their relationship. And Jermaine didn't necessarily say that he had any issues with Janet in that way where he felt overlooked or undervalued or something of that nature.
Shout out to him.
You know, now there might have been behind the scenes, he might be being a gentleman, right? Because the straw probably was those outside little situations, you know. However, it's still Janet Jackson. I get it. It's still Janet Jackson, though. Let's see. We got a caller on the line, Eric from Carson. He wants to get in on this JD and Janet conversation. Eric, what's good? How are you?
Hey, Jill. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you.
So Janet is my all-time favorite singer. She was an actress, but I love her as
she
a
is
singer.
An actress. Don't discount her acting work.
That's true. She is. But the Velvet Rope Tour is sitting on second row. But I just want to say this. I want to spit some knowledge that nobody's thinking about. Janet is beautiful. She's sexy. She's talented. But she's strategic. And she's dated some James DeBarge, Bobby Brown, and Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine came after the love of her life, Renee Elizondo. That relationship preceded that one. And I think that she's strategic. And I think even though she dated Jermaine for a long time, I don't think it was ever in her mind going to be a permanent thing. This was the thing that she did at this time, and I'm going to tell you why she did it. She did it, 2 decent albums came out of her time with Jermaine, 20 YO and Discipline, and she did the Super Bowl, but Jermaine was named Billboard's top R&B hip-hop producer of the 21st century, and I think that she wanted to help she wanted him to help elevate her into the hip-hop world more than she already was.
Let me ask you a question, though. Let me ask you a question. I see where you're going. Do you honestly think that any hip-hop producer that was popping at that time wouldn't have loved to jump on the Janet remix? Do you know how many remixes they had for Son of a Gun, the single? How many hip-hop remixes?
I think
they had
a
Bad Boy remix. They had Missy Elliott remix. There were a couple others. If that's the direction she wanted to go in, she most certainly could and would have. Because what you're forgetting is Renee was her A&R. So you're saying she wanted Jermaine to take that spot, but Jermaine didn't even want to work with her musically initially.
I believe he didn't want. That's what she wanted, but I can prove my point with one final statement.
Go ahead.
She was she was married to Wissam Almani for 5 years, and the prenup stated that she was going to get X amount of dollars if she stayed married to him for X amount of time, which was the time she stayed married to him. And if she had a baby, she was going to get more. She stayed married to him for that amount of time, and she had that baby. I don't think there was anywhere in the world that she would have ever had a family with Jermaine Dupri, because she's too smart and too strategic for that. No disrespect to him. It was a business situation. It was not love.
All right. Well, thank you for your input as always, Eric. The chat is happy when you chime in. We appreciate you. So shout out to that. Listen, where is it? I just love Morris Phillips in the chat says that women compete. Want a fine woman? Have one. I learned that from a player. I mean, that is true. That is true.
That's garbage.
A little bit,
That's
though.
Unfortunate.
It
for
is.
Real,
I mean,
ladies,
but here's the
real.
thing. But let's not act like men don't learn a certain perspective, right? If you see a woman and you know, right, that she is with a guy with coin, are you going to go up to her and say, I got nothing but love for you, baby?
I don't know. I don't think it works with the fellas like that. I'm not looking at another girl because she's dating this dude or something like, mm-mm.
A little bit. Let me ask you this. Let me give you a perfect example. Hip-hop athletes, I always say they love a referral, right? How many people have dated someone else that someone else has dated? Sure, it could be coincidence, but it happens over and over and over again. Why? Because they love a referral.
I think they like proximity. And if the homie got the plug on 10 chicks, bring them on over. As opposed to, I don't know, me flying across the country to go find somebody. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see. Forrest Harrison in the chat says, real men aren't going to cry, complain, or place blame on the woman after a breakup. Most of the time, we are just glad to be gone. There's way more to the breakup than him having a baby. Do you think so? You don't think that that's reason enough? I mean, honestly, that brings in a whole other set of, scenarios and situations that maybe one didn't sign up for. I mean, I'm sure there might have been other things, but I think that for a lot of people, men and women, that's a very good reason to end a relationship. Let's not be naive. Are we playing? Y'all are playing. Don't play.
I did see an interview clip where Jermaine Dupri was talking about how whoever's going to date him needs to understand that he's going to be at the strip club every day or every weekend or something like that. I'm just curious to know if that kind of played a factor into the relationship with Janet.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, he brought her to the strip club a couple of times. I'm sure there's times when she did not want to go. But the thing is this, at some point, right, occasionally perhaps, but if you're still in the strip club every night, somebody might have some questions. JD is 50 now, I believe. Do you still need to be in the strip club every night, JD? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's his inspiration. When we come forward, we're going to talk about pretty punishment and more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What can you bucket do you think you'll find? Who's going home with you tonight? Who you gonna give it to? Who you gonna steal from? Who's your next victim? Oh, who you gonna lie to? Who you gonna cheat on? Who you gonna leave alone? Oh, what you gonna tell her after she discovers you don't really love her? Oh, it's gonna be a showdown, knockdown, drag out, no sing, shoot 'em all. Bet you think this song is about you.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says he plans to deploy National Guard troops to Memphis, Tennessee as part of his push against crime and illegal immigration. In a Fox News interview, Trump described Memphis as deeply troubled and claimed the city's Democratic mayor, Paul Young, who was black, supported the move.
I'm certainly not happy about the National Guard.
Mayor Young is pushing back, saying he never asked for troops to patrol the city and does not believe their presence would reduce crime. The Trump administration has ordered national parks to remove exhibits about slavery and racism, including the iconic scourged back photo. Sites like Harper's Ferry and Philadelphia's President's House are affected. And Grammy winner Lil Nas X is reportedly now in out-of-state treatment after a recent run-in with police. A judge is allowing him to stay there as long as treatment continues. He faces felony charges from last month's altercation, but his attorney says his well-being is the priority. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Motorcycle crash in Sherman Oaks on the 405 northbound just past the 101. Carpool left lanes blocked. Delays all the way from Sunset Boulevard out of West LA. Fullerton, a wreck on the 57 southbound before Yorba Linda Boulevard. 3 right lanes are blocked. That drive loading up all the way from Tonner Canyon Road. And it's tough as you make your way through Diamond Bar on the 57 northbound before Brea Canyon Road. Right lanes blocked due to a crash, and that's slowing things down away from Tonner Canyon as well.
Do you really know what's in your tap water? LifeSource believes your water should support your health, not work against it. Upgrade your water with a LifeSource whole house water system during September's Double Dip promo. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The firing of UCLA head football coach Deshaun Foster on Sunday was not a surprise. Things were heading in this direction from the first game of the season when UCLA was blown out at home by Utah 43-10. In the Bruins' 0-3 start, they were outscored 108-43. In Friday's loss to New Mexico, they were outscored 21-0 in the fourth quarter. In that game, the Bruins gave up 298 yards rushing and committed 13 penalties for 116 yards. 13 penalties is an indication that Foster had trouble maintaining discipline on his team. These are not the kind of numbers that will make a team competitive in the Big Ten Conference, which has 7 teams ranked in the top 25. Foster's dismissal reduces the number of black head football coaches in the Big Ten to 3. James Franklin at number 2 Penn State, Sharon Moore at Michigan, and Mike Loxley at Maryland. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key, privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
That my best friend, she a real bad got her own money. She don't need no on the dance floor. She had 2, 3 drinks, now she twerking. She throw it out and come back in.
That's my best friend, she a real bad drive her own car. She don't need no lift in a strip club. No, my girl gon' tip. Now she twerking, she throw it out and come back in. Beep, beep. Is that my bestie in a testy? Fresh blowout, skin on town, she ready. Look good with a T at the end. I'm a hyper every time, now my muff friend. She been down since the jellies and the bobos. Now me stepping out the Jeep, got my nut lows.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Doja. Shout out to Saweetie. Listen, I'm digging, this is a side, but it's related. I'm digging Doja's new single drop. She's going very 80s, this era, you know, spiked hair, shoulder pads, very Jim and the Holograms, very 80s, you know, ping sound. Can't think, I'm blacking out on what to call that term that I want to, the type of 80s music she's targeting. I like it though, but you know, I was a kid.
Shout out to Doja. I think she's another one of those individuals that's holding it down for hip hop right now. I know we talk about Megan, we talk about Nicki a lot, but Doja in a lot of ways, she's created like her own little platform. She's over there with it.
Absolutely. So do you consider Doja pop or hip hop? We've had that conversation before, but what do you consider it? You know, I love Doja. Think she is incredible.
Man, it's 2025. These kids don't care about being labeled. So I'm gonna just go ahead and call her an artist.
An artist. I feel that. I feel that 100%.
She's a little bit of all of that.
But do you think hip hop truly embraces her?
Hip hop doesn't embrace her. But she be rapping though.
She does. She does, and performs. Like Doja's gonna give you a performance.
Absolutely. I think most people would probably consider her more pop than anything.
So, and shout out to, speaking of Janet, a couple more things on Janet. Janet is going to be on Cardi B's new album, which drops in a couple days. Just an FYI. And in the chat, Forrest Harrison said, Jermaine cheating and having a side baby is the result of a faulty relationship between he and Janet. That's my point. If that relationship was so great, he wouldn't be raw dogging side chicks. Forensic accountant agrees wholeheartedly and says, and putting both of their sexual health in potential jeopardy. Y'all do realize that men do stupid stuff every day. I know you're men and you know men better than me. So really, why are we having this conversation? Because you know that men do stupid stuff every single day. Do you think he would have picked the chick he was dipping and dabbing with over Janet? Do you think he ended up with the chick he was dipping and dabbling with over Janet? No, he didn't. Y'all just do stuff sometimes. It's just a moment, not thinking, being childish. It happens. Apparently, people are a lot more forgiving than what we think, because there's lots of people that have endured situations, things like that. But Janet was like, why do I have to? Right? Why do I have to? So that's where we are with that one. Maybe, maybe not. Shout out to that. Okay, so let's talk Saweetie, right? Jess Buena Chica says he has to feed that ego. Exactly. Sometimes it's just that. Like he said. I mean, are we not aware? He said, why aren't you guys saying Janet fumbled me? He's been a star since he was a teen, too.
I agree.
So
why can't it be like that?
Because it can't.
That's not enough. I'm sorry.
Because Janet didn't cheat on him and get pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, that's where we got to leave it, right? All right. So we've talked a little bit about pretty privilege on this show before. Some people believe in it, some people don't, right? But there is a flip side at times to pretty privilege. Again, I guess this is Hot 97 night. I didn't even think about this because this is another clip of Saweetie with Nessa, right? And so in this conversation, Saweetie talks about how she has been penalized all through her life at various moments, at times, because of how she looks, right? Some people don't agree with this. We're going to talk about it. Let's hear what she had to say.
Right. I was going to ask you, do you feel like the industry has tried to count you out? Like,
since I started.
Talk about it, man. Because I think people, look, to be honest, people see you're gorgeous. Mm-hmm. You're getting endless bags. Mm-hmm. You are, listen, that girl, right? I don't think they understand how many doors, how many rejections, how many times people have counted you out.
I saw it on TikTok. They were like, they talk about pretty privilege, but they don't talk about pretty punishment. There's been so many times I've just been counted out, and I know that it's behind animosity. I know it's because of a hidden agenda, but it makes me work harder. But this has happened, like, my whole life. So it's like, what I deal with in the industry is just, different face, same case.
Oof. Even now?
Yeah.
Sweetie, don't tell me. I don't, you know what? I'm going to, yeah, that's,
But I see it. It shows up in different ways. Mm-hmm. But I really just have I love reading like conspiracy theories or just theories about life. Yeah, not a conspiracy theory, but a theory about life. There is a theory where we talk to God and we sign up for this life. Right. And we know what we're doing, and we literally wrote our story before we got here. So when I'm seeing reoccurring things, I'm like, dang, girl, for real? Like
You
this,
wrote this?
I'm like, this is the movie thing. This is the premise. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be losing the plot too, and I'm just like, you know what? Focus. But that's how I interpret those moments. I'm just like, okay, this is a reoccurring like thing that keeps showing up. So let me just progress from it, learn from it, grow from it.
Yep.
Don't let it get me down.
I feel like.
So Andy, I feel, was about to touch on this, and this is what a lot I saw in the comments. Girl, talent. That's what you lack, right? Because people have their thoughts, feelings, and opinions on Saweetie's delivery, whomever, if she's writing her lyrics or someone else is, right? And they're saying that's why you're not getting ahead. But what I want to point out is that's not what she said. She talked about various points in life where people have tried to block her or things that have happened. She never once blamed a lack of success or her career not ascending on these moments. But she said that there have been situations where people have hated on her. And listen, yes, we know the benefits of being attractive, especially conventionally attractive, especially I'll go ahead and knock it out the park for you, especially as she's biracial and what some would deem, if you look at the comments, a black man's preference, right? That's what all the things probably getting up in arms about. But there is a flip side to that. We talked about this before when Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks had the podcast, that there is sometimes an expectation with attractive women that even if you're being nice, you're flirting, right? You can't. People sometimes take that the wrong way. There's the expectation that people should be able to enjoy you in a different sort of way because you're attractive. There are people that think that because you're attractive, you couldn't possibly be intelligent or put something together. Again, not saying, woe is me, be so sad for someone because they're beautiful, but recognize that just like there's pros and cons to anything, looks come with that same set of pros and cons. It just might be different for you. And I think sometimes people who aren't considered conventionally attractive, not saying that they're unattractive, just not, fitting into this archetype that we have bought into in some ways, that they can't imagine there being any backlash from it. And then let's be honest, sometimes women do not like to see another woman getting attention. And so they're going to show and express their own special brand of shade. It happens. We always talk about women being catty, right? And whether that's true or not, sometimes women are intimidated by other women who they feel might soak up all the attention or might, cast a different light than they do. It happens. Don't act like it doesn't. It does, right? And it doesn't mean that you won't succeed. It doesn't mean that you don't have to work hard, but sometimes you do, just like being a woman, just like being a black woman, just like, being a black man, have to show up twice as good sometimes because you're going to be questioned about certain things because people at times start with their own particular set of thoughts and opinions based on your aesthetic. So I think that is what she was illustrating and highlighting. People can be mean to pretty girls sometimes. They can. But I don't think she was saying that's why she's not more successful, just that those are some of the obstacles that have been thrown in her way along her journey. And she still persevered. But y'all gonna take it how you want to take it. And, I'm here for it. Listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
No warrant, no key. Privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So Jess Buena Chica in the chat had something to add on Saweetie. She says, maybe she sucks as a person, as in personality. Perhaps not a good publicist. Regurgitating 90s and 2000 beats. Talent.
Woo! Hold on. Enough said.
That's what you were going to say, Andy?
I mean, look, one of the criticisms that I did have with her was the fact that, you know, some of her hits are like songs that were hits already. You know, where's the creativity in that?
It is very sample heavy.
You know, she had that interview with Ebro, and I think Ebro might have been a little bit grimy putting her on the spot like that to ask her to freestyle. And I think she attempted to freestyle, and no cap, it was not a good look.
It wasn't.
And, you know, unfortunately, it's stuff like that where people will go ahead and say, yeah, you're only here because of your looks. Because where's your talent? You feel me?
I think that she, you know, went in heavy for a minute on the social media buzz, right? I think she has potential, you know, to make cute little bops that the girls get dressed to on the way to brunch and whatever.
Yeah, I'm with that. And I rock with a lot of her music too. But like, if we're gonna talk about, you know, who's the best, I'm sorry, she's not gonna be on that list.
I don't think. No, I think of her as making cute little bops. You know, I don't know what it's called. Cute little bops. That's what I think.
But Jill, if somebody called.
Yes.
Didn't want to come on air.
Okay.
I'm not going to put this person out there. And
okay.
I just hope that I'm paraphrasing what she said. But she was, I don't know if she was questioning or she was basically saying that while when Janet was dating Jermaine Dupri, that her and Bobby Brown had a little thing.
No.
And this came on the New Edition movie or Bobby Brown movie. I'm not too sure.
No. When Janet and Bobby originally was back, it wasn't during Jermaine Dupri time. It was back then. Obviously, I can't say 100%, but I can say something that I saw when I worked at Virgin. When Janet was on the All For You tour, that was 2001, when it hit the LA stop at Staples Center, Bobby sent Janet, and I guess he was still, if I think about it, he was still married to Whitney. Anyway, it doesn't mean anything, but he sent her all these roses, dozen roses or whatever, and he was trying to get back to see Janet, but she was like, no. So I don't know, right? There wasn't a whole great deal of discussion. It wasn't a big deal. She just wasn't interested, but the roses were there. So I don't believe so. So back on Saweetie for a second, Lucas Frank in the chat says she just can't exist and do her without having hordes of unattractive women harass her. She's just hated on because she's light-skinned. Maybe by some. Like, I'm not going to say everything because, you know, has Saweetie put out an actual album? I don't think that she has. I think it's only been EPs and mixtapes. And there is something to be said that, you know, I think a lot of her music is sort of, you know, retail music, soundtrack music. It's stuff that you hear in a TV show or movie but don't necessarily pay attention to it, or you might hear when you're shopping. I don't even know if they do this anymore, like at an H&M or something like that.
Saweetie at an H&M, you sure?
Sometimes they play, like, think about it.
Maybe at Chic.
Like You're My Best Friend, that song with Doja, that's a little poppy song.
You're
I
right,
could hear,
you're right,
you
you're
know? Yeah, a little bit. So, well, speaking of pretty girls and some online drama, Saturday morning, right, outside of Manor, that's in Soho in New York, Draya Michele, 40, Jalen Green, 23, because I know y'all want to know the ages again and be reminded again, so I'm telling you. They were in a heated fight. You can check the video online, and Draya had to be kind of restrained. Jalen was walking away. Draya was trying to get around her friend to get at Jalen. It did sound like, right, because the audio's a little garbled, but it did sound as if Jalen called Draya a B and was like, I'll sock you up. I'm paraphrasing. But Draya was the aggressor in this situation. Now, the next morning, she posted in her hotel room, you could hear Jalen in the background. She was talking like normal, you know, talking about a face mask. And then she put up on her story the Jet 2 Holiday logo, because we know that's been all the rage on social media right now when there is something crazy happening and basically you want to get away. Like, what was that? The Snickers commercial, Southwest? I can't remember. Back in the day, they had their drama. And, you know, people often wonder what they have in common. Maybe they have a similar, mental thing when it comes to losing their temper. It wasn't a good look for Draya. I'm going to just be honest. I say you're both adults. Do you as far as the relationship goes down, but crashing out on the street corner like that did not look great for her. Right? And we've seen Draya have messy relationship stuff. Like, obviously, we know she and Tyrod Taylor were battling over the home that she was living in, over repairs. And then she and Orlando Scandrick had some battles that resulted them posting online the aftermath, where you would see rooms, everything, items askew, drama, you know? So it just isn't a great look, especially when people are trying to see their downfall and already feel like, you know, they said that Jalen sounded like he was mad because his mom took away the game. You know, people are going in. So I don't know. Hopefully they've learned from that. There's a lot at stake.
It just sucks that a couple can't argue without it like being overblown into something that's probably something minor.
I mean, here's the thing. It probably was. People have altercations all the time in their relationships. Who's to say whatever happened doesn't necessarily, whatever happened doesn't necessarily mean that it's a miscommunication due to age. And like I said, Draya was the aggressor. Now, what a lot of people have pointed out is that if this was the other way around and Jalen was pursuing her, we'd be having a whole different conversation. I am acknowledging that. But I wonder if Jalen's mom is going to have a conversation with him following this public display. It's one thing when your dirt happens behind closed doors, but when it happens in a public fashion and she's the one that had to be restrained, the conversation is going to be, you better get up out of there. It's just a matter of time before you catching a case behind her and pop, there goes your money. That's what they're going to say. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that is what they're likely going to say, you know? Urban Spinster says both are immature. If you're loud arguing in public, walk it off. Listen, it just wasn't a good look. Jess Buena Chica says, can you explain Ice Spice? She's light-skinned, pretty, and her music sucks. You know, everybody has their moment. It's been about 10 years since Saweetie first started dropping and popping out there. So on the flip side of that, to have lasted 10 years, right, with McDonald's endorsements and some other things, she still has some major endorsements, right? And of course, a lot of shade is thrown on Saweetie because of her dating life and who she did or did not and what happened in that. You know, people love to pile on with that. I think it could also be a moment because arguably, is Ice Spice as hot as she was 2-3 years ago when she first dropped? I'd say no. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, y'all. Listen, thank you for pulling up and tapping in with all of the little trending topics. You know, we're friends. We share. Let's do it all again tomorrow. Okay. Same mic, new smoke, though. Coming up next is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Allowed to a limit, remind you of the sky when I'm in it. We on cloud 9 for the minute. Admire your style and your physique, and I ain't trying to critique, but you deserve a good drink. So what's up? What you sipping on? It's no problem. Black and gold bottles like I'm pro New Orleans. But shawty, I'm far from a saint, but I got 2 Amexes that look the same way. Wale, DC, that's me, huh? My pride say Prada and they pride say Fila. I ain't gotta tell you, they know about me, huh? Come to DC and I can make